Mark from the States, Mark from the States, it's Mark from the United States.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Mark from the States. How we doing today? I'm doing fantastic. I hope you are as well. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate each and every one of you. I've got a chair. Please come sit with me today. It's a Sunday, so what better? Let's spend some time in a pub, shall we? Robslondon, I have 2 links below, one to his channel, one to this video. Please go and support the original content creator. It is very important that you do so. Today, step back in time, discover 5 historic pubs in the city of London. I am hoping that we don't see ones that we've already seen in other videos. Hopefully these are 5 different ones. So fingers crossed. You know how I love my pubs and just the history that is behind all of these things. So I am excited to see this video, and I'm excited that you've come along with me. As you know, I learned the bulk of my information after the video, as a lot of you have had context and other tidbits that aren't discussed in the video, and so I look forward to the comments and emails afterwards as usual. You guys are amazing. I'm blessed. Robslondon is amazing. One of my favorite channels. Learned a ton of things, seen some really incredible videos from him. So get over there. If you have 1 like and 1 subscription to give today, I beg you, please go give it to Rob. Not here, go give it to Rob on his channel. It's really important. Okay, without further ado, just a quick thing. Next weekend, we're going to San Diego to look at colleges with my son. Should be a lot of fun. Then we're off for a couple weeks, meaning I have nothing going on. So I'll be here with you, which is great. And then we're going to Vegas at the end of the month. Gosh, it's August 3rd already. Yeah, at the end of the month, Labor Day weekend or 3-day weekend. We'll be in Vegas like I am every year. That, of course, is always a lot of fun too. So yeah, a lot going on. I think that's it. Let's get going, shall we? Okay, you guys ready? Let's do it. Oh my goodness. There we go. That wasn't gonna work unless I get in this little tiny little box here. All right, here we go. Love this channel.
Hello, and thanks for stopping by. I don't know about you, but I reckon it's high time we explored another set of London's pubs.
Yes.
The ones we'll be visiting in this episode all lie within the capital's oldest area, the historic Square Mile.
Square?
And there are 2 in particular, which, by far, have been the most requested by viewers since I began this series.
Blackfriars.
So, without any further ado, let's go and see what we can find.
I'm gonna have to look up to see what the Square Mile is. I don't think I've heard of that before, but sounds interesting. That was St. Paul's, right? I think that's what that was, I believe. Pretty cool. The Old Mitre, Ely Port.
For those who are unfamiliar with it, the Old Mitre is, arguably, one of the trickiest pubs to find in London, for it lies burrowed away in the middle of Ely Court.
Love
A
it.
discreet alley which runs between Ely Place and the Hatton Garden Jewellery Quarter. Ely Court and Ely Place take their names from Ely in Cambridgeshire. The reason being that, for nearly 500 years,
That's beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. Dang.
between 1290 and 1772, this area was home to a palace owned by the bishops of Ely, a complex which they used as their Grand London residence. As such, this patch of land, in a manner similar to a diplomatic embassy, was considered to be part of Cambridgeshire itself.
Okay.
In 1531, Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon attended a lavish banquet here, which lasted for 5 days. And the palace is mentioned in Shakespeare's Richard III, when Richard says to the bishop, "My lord of Ely, when I was last in Holborn, I saw good strawberries in your garden there. I do beseech you, send for some of them." Although Ely Palace has long since been swept away, one
Bummer.
significant part remains: the beautiful St. Ethelreda's Church, which, having been built in 1290, happens to be a rare survivor of the Great Fire of London.
Of course. It's amazing what survives. I mean, it seems like all these pubs all got destroyed in the pubs that we've seen so far. All seem to be destroyed in the fire and then rebuilt. But there was a pub on that location since the 1500s or whatever, and then they're rebuilt, in the late 1660s, 1670s, that sort of thing. If I have my dates right. But the fact that you find certain that survive is, I don't know if it was an act of God or being a church and all, but just amazing. I mentioned how there was a big fire here in my hometown up in the neighborhood where my parents' house, where I grew up. And their house kind of sat a little lower than the houses around it, and those houses all burned. And the wind was blowing so hard, it was like it just blew the fire right over their house. Their house wasn't even touched by fire. There was smoke damage, of course, like you would expect, but the fact that there was no damage, incredible. Just incredible. But so when I hear stories of things surviving the Great Fire of London, is just considering the total destruction that that fire did, is just remarkable. Oh, and to continue, I just love the fact that this pub is hard to find. Those are my favorites, where you have to go down a little alley to get into to a little courtyard that is not seen from the road. Those are the best. The tourists just walk right on by.
The Old Mitre pub is
Yeah.
directly related to the history of Ely Palace, as it was first built in 1546 to specifically cater for the many servants employed by the bishops. And its name, of course, is a reference to the headgear worn by those men of the cloth. As it appears today, the Old Mitre dates from the 1770s, having been rebuilt when the neighbouring palace was demolished, although extensive remodelling was carried out in the 1920s and 30s. The other road flanking Ely Court, Hatton Garden, is named after Sir Christopher Hatton, who was a favourite of Queen Elizabeth I, so much so that she bypassed the bishops of Ely in order to grant Hatton a lease of land here. A relic related to the relationship can be viewed inside the Old Mitre itself. It's this old cherry tree stump, which is displayed within a custom-made cabinet. It's claimed this tree was
there
originally
it is.
planted as a marker to denote the boundary between the bishop's land and the plot belonging to Christopher Hatton.
It was kind of hard to see there with the reflection in the glass, but built by Bishop Goodrich in 1546, the cherry tree marks the boundary between the bishop's garden and the part leased to Sir Christopher Hatton. That is awesome. It's a small little intimate joint. What a great boss to work for, someone to work for and build you a pub. That's great.
And according to legend, Elizabeth I once danced around this tree with Hatton. There's no way of proving this, of course,
Right.
but it makes for a nice story, doesn't
Absolutely. 1546. Wow.
In 2002, a BBC radio dramatisation of P.G. Woodhouse's Meet Mr. Mulliner, narrated by Richard Griffiths, was recorded on location here. And you can see the old mitre in Guy Ritchie's 2000 film Snatch, the pub being a favourite haunt of the dodgy diamond dealer Doug the Head, who was played by Mike Reed.
I've seen that movie long time ago. Wait.
From Doug the Head, we now move on to the old Dr. Butler's head.
Masterpiece. What a great name. The old Dr. Butler's head. Mwah. That is beautiful. Oh my God, this has probably got a great story to it. Another one I have not heard of.
Which, like the old mitre, isn't the easiest of places to track down.
Perfect.
It's tucked away on Mason's Avenue, which runs between Coleman Street and Basinghall Street, just across from the Guildhall.
That's cool looking.
The old Dr. Butler's head is the sole survivor of what was essentially an early pub chain, all of which were established to sell a particular type of medicinal ale.
Huh.
The man who developed this brew was the fellow shown on the sign, Dr. William Butler, who was something of a charlatan.
Oh. That makes the story even better right there, right out of the gate. Not really a doctor.
Born in Ipswich in 1535, William Butler attended Peterhouse College, Cambridge, and after graduating was granted a license to work as a physician, which, even by 16th century standards, was a tad strange, because he hadn't actually studied medicine.
Oh my God. Love it.
Despite being completely unqualified, Butler set up an apothecary shop in Cambridge, where records mention that he employed an old maid named Nell, who apparently was entrusted to fetch Butler home from the tavern every night.
Sorry to keep pausing, but I'm just loving this story. That's a great job there. Her job was to go drag him out of the pub. That's so funny. So he's not, he's a doctor, but he didn't study to be a doctor. And he opened up an apothecary and loved the drink. This is great.
The bogus doctor having a reputation for being a very heavy drinker.
Uh-huh.
Despite these flaws, the dubious quack made a name for himself in 1603 when he was called upon to treat a Cambridge clergyman who'd fallen into a deep coma after indulging in too much opium.
Oh.
Butler's solution was unorthodox, to say the least. He had a cow slaughtered and then promptly stuffed his patient into the cow's warm belly.
I'm thinking like Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars, where Luke gets stuffed inside a tauntaun to keep warm. Oh my God. What on earth?
By some miracle, or maybe the opium was just wearing off, the clergyman came to, which must have been pretty alarming for him, considering he was surrounded by squelchy cow's innards. News of this
Nasty.
sensation reached King James I, who was so impressed, he promptly appointed Dr. Butler as a physician to his court. As such, Dr. Butler, who was now well into his 60s, moved to London, and once in the city, he continued to prescribe all manner of ludicrous cures. These included dousing plague victims in ice-cold water, throwing a man suffering from fever into the Thames, and for those suffering from epilepsy, firing a brace of pistols close to the patient's face, his theory being that this would scare the seizures out of them.
Oh, that's good.
By this point, Dr. Butler had also concocted his own alcoholic drink, Butler's Purging Ale, which, laced with goodness knows what, he marketed as the perfect cure for gastric problems. Rather than selling this potion from an apothecary store, Butler figured it would retail better in taverns, and so he set up a chain of pubs to do just that. The old Dr. Butler's Head on Mason's Avenue is the last surviving example of this early 17th century franchise. There's been a tavern here since 1610. Butler purchased it for his own use in 1616, and as you can probably guess, its incarnation was later destroyed in the Great Fire of London. As it stands today, the pub dates from the Victorian era, and no, sadly, Dr. Butler's Purging Ale is no longer available.
Oh, it would be great if they had some variation of it. You know, it's just regular ale or beer or whatever, but that's great. Oh my gosh, what a this is like my favorite right here. I love the history of it, the story behind it, just weird. Oh my gosh. Haven't heard this one either that I'm aware of. Oh,
Located
what a great shot right there. That's beautiful. Cannot wait.
just moments away from St Paul's Cathedral, the Old London on Ludgate Hill is a pub which thousands of people, both tourists and Londoners alike, pass by every day. There's been a pub here since 1749, and prior to that, you could still pop by for a drink, as the first business based at this address was a coffee house, the London Coffee House as it was known, which opened in 1731. In the 18th century, coffee houses were popular with the city's businessmen, who'd congregate in them to conduct their various dealings. And over time, this led each establishment to become associated with a specific profession. In the case of the London Coffee House, this was publishing and copyright law, most likely because nearby St Paul's Churchyard was known for its booksellers. Despite being geared towards caffeine, beer, rum, brandy and punch were all available too at the London Coffee House, and during lengthy trials at the nearby Old Bailey, the establishment was used as the de facto hotel for accommodating juries. When the London Coffee House was transformed into a tavern, it was renamed the Old London Coffee House. Over time, the coffee part was dropped, resulting in its current title, the Old London.
So, he said lodging for the people from Old Bailey, like jurors, I guess. Upstairs, I'm assuming there's living quarters upstairs. I'm guessing. That's wild.
In more recent times, the pub underwent a brief rebranding under a rather different name.
It's got a cool
The Bell,
location.
and Candle, which apparently are the 3 items used by a priest during an exorcism. The
Okay.
Old London Coffee House makes an appearance in Charles Dickens' novel Little Dorrit, when in chapter 3 of the first book, we're told that, on a gloomy, close and stale Sunday, Arthur Clenham sat in the window of a coffee house on Ludgate Hill, counting one of the neighbouring bells. The bell Dickens refers to was no doubt that of St Martin's Ludgate, which is sited right next door. This church is one of Sir Christopher Wren's many masterpieces. Just look at the spire, it's incredible. And inside, you can see one of St Martin's old bells on display. Who knows, maybe this was the very same one which Arthur Clenham could hear clanging. In the rush to admire St Paul's though, most people hurry past this church without even giving it a second glance.
I mean, honestly, I don't even know if you would even notice it as a church. I mean, yeah, I guess now that it's been pointed out and you're looking right at it, yeah. But it really kind of just blends in. You certainly notice the pub, though.
Which is a real shame. So, if you happen to be in the area, be sure to show St Martin's a bit of love.
Will do. The old Watling. Okay.
Close to the Old London, on the opposite side of St Paul's Cathedral, you'll find the Old Watling.
Oh my god, look at that view. Oh, I'm definitely coming down here. This place looks amazing. That's awesome. Awesome.
This pub takes its name from the road upon which it stands, Watling Street, which was one of the most important highways in Roman Britain, a route which ran from Dover up towards London, then on to St Albans and Wroxeter. It's for this reason that the pub's sign features a centurion's helmet.
Ah, okay.
That said though, the Watling Street seen here, well, it isn't actually part of the old Roman road. Although much of Watling Street still survives today in a modern form, most notably as the A2 and A5 roads, Its route through central London is somewhat fragmented. You can see its straight, distinctive Roman line running south of the Thames along the Old Kent Road, and then north through Maida Vale and along Edgware Road. But here, in the square mile, the path has been lost, although it's no doubt passed very close to this spot, hence this short stretch of street adopting its name. That's not to say, though, that the City of London's Watling Street lacks history. It's still very old indeed, and is believed to have been laid out shortly after Alfred the Great re-established the city in 886 AD. As for the pub, well, that's had a long life too. There's been one here since at least 1663.
Very cool.
That early embodiment of the old Watling didn't survive very long though. No prizes for guessing, it was wiped out in the Great Fire of London. In the wake of the blaze, it was one of the very first buildings to be reconstructed, this being done at the behest of Sir Christopher Wren, who, whilst preparing the ground for the rebuild of nearby St Paul's Cathedral, figured his workers would need a place where they could obtain food and drink.
Telling you, I would like to work for Sir Christopher Wren as well. That's pretty awesome.
It's also believed that a room on the upper floor was used as an office by Wren, where plans for the mighty cathedral were drawn up and meticulously reviewed. Wren's version of the old Watling was cobbled together using second-hand ship's timbers, which were cheap and easy to obtain. And the current building, which suffered heavy damage during the Blitz, dates from around the turn of the 20th century. By the way, this wasn't the only pub Christopher Wren had built for his men. The old Watling has a cousin, the Old Bell, which stands at the eastern end of Fleet Street, and was mainly used by builders working on the beautiful St Bride's Church. What a great employer he must have been.
Right? I have not heard of any of them, and here's the fifth one. I haven't heard of this one either, and this one looks crazy. Just the shape of the building. It's like they had like just this little bit of land, and so they just built the building to fit inside that little plot. You wonder if the drinks cost money, and so he built the pub, he pays them, and then they just pay him back, basically buying the beer. So he's getting his money back somehow. But yeah, the Blackfriar, dang. Look at that, the right out here out front too, right on top. That looks cool.
Like the Old Mitre, the Blackfriar is a pub which has been requested many times by viewers, so I think it's about time we delved in.
Okay.
Compared to the other pubs we've seen in this video, the Blackfriar is relatively young. The first inn to appear here was built in 1875. The ground on which it stands was once the site of a medieval friary belonging to the Dominican order known as the Blackfriars, who was so named because the friars wore black cloaks.
No mystery there.
The friary was a fair size, containing a hall, library, stables, gardens, and so on. Its western edge, where the pub now stands, bordered the River Fleet, which now flows underground beneath New Bridge Street. The friary has long since vanished. It was dissolved by Henry VIII, although you can still see one tiny fragment of it. This surviving section of wall, which sits quietly by in the square known as Island Yard.
Huh. Odd.
Returning to the Blackfriar pub then, well, as mentioned a moment ago, it's first opened in 1875. The building was designed in this distinctive wedge shape to help it slot into this small plot of land, and it's squeezed against a railway line, which now carries trains between the Blackfriars and City Thames Link stations. The tracks are...
Oh my gosh, look at that building. That is incredible. And look at these right here. These are incredible right here.
Well, thank you.
Amazing. Really cool.
carries trains between the Blackfriars and City Thames Link stations. The tracks are so close, in fact, that if you're in the pub, you'll hear and feel the trains frequently rumbling past.
Oh, wow.
The Blackfriar as it appears today is the result of a complete rebuild, which was conducted at the start of the 20th century, after being acquired by a landlord named William Petit. William had plenty of cash to spend, and so spared no expense in having his new business made to look as lavish as possible. The work was carried out in 1905, an era when the Art Nouveau period was at its height, and as such, that's the distinctive style in which the pub was designed. The architect was Herbert Fuller Clark. You can see another of his buildings at 40 Foley Street over in the West End, whilst the sculptor who created the many fancy reliefs and adornments was Henry Poole, an artist who, years later in World War I, would go on to develop camouflage techniques for the army.
Cool.
Fragments of other sculptures made by Henry are now displayed on Milford Lane, just across from St Clement Danes RAF Church. As you can see, with the Blackfriar, Herbert and Henry
I gotta
are
go
now
back
displayed
here, I'm
on
so
Milford
sorry.
Lane, just across from St Clement Danes RAF Church.
RAF Church. Oh, wow. Okay.
As you can see, with the Blackfriar, Herbert and Henry created not only a pub, but an absolute work of art. The detail is, to be frank, exquisite. I've been here many times over the years, but I'm always discovering new quirks, such as this friar sucking into a tasty looking pie,
Yep.
or this pointy-eared fellow who seems to resemble Yoda from Star Wars. Along with the art reliefs, there are also various phrases dotted around for you to ponder over your pint, including "wisdom is rare," "silence is golden," and "haste is slow." The only feature which wasn't part of Herbert and Henry's design is the prominent statue of the Blackfriar perched at the front. He's a
Oh.
relatively recent addition, having been added in around 1983.
Oh, wow.
The Blackfriar has appeared in several films over the years, most notably the 1978 version of Raymond Chandler's The Big Sleep, and Morris, a 1987 film based on an Ian Forster novel.
I mean, it looks way bigger inside than it does that you would imagine it being by looking at it from the outside.
It's utterly insane to think now, but for most of the 1960s, this gorgeous pub faced the looming threat of demolition. Back
Oh,
then,
no.
the area around Blackfriars was seen as stagnant and in dire need of development. It's being defined by old warehouses and a huge weed-strewn bomb site, which served as a car park. In the early 60s, an underpass had been ploughed through Puddle Dock, soon after which plans were drawn up to build another wide road along the path of Carter Lane in order to relieve traffic on Ludgate Hill. It would seem it was this proposed road which posed the main threat to the pub, as it would have to be knocked down to make way for it.
I mean, where is it? Oh, right there. Wait, no, that's... Oh, it's right here. Where the finger's pointing. Thank you. Wow.
Even as late as 1971, the threat remained, leading the London Illustrated News to publish an article in which it was stated the loss of the Blackfriar would be nothing short of tragic. Thankfully, two people with clout stepped in. Sir John Betjeman, who was a regular at the pub and had successfully campaigned to save St Pancras Station from a similar fate, and Rain Spencer, also known as Lady Dartmouth, Princess Diana's stepmother, who worked in politics and took a keen interest in the preservation of historical sites. Between them, Sir John Betjeman and Lady Dartmouth fought to have the Blackfriar saved, and it's
Awesome.
thanks to them that this legendary pub remains standing and very much popular today. So, if you get the chance to have a drink in here, be sure to raise a glass to them.
Absolutely. That was awesome. please, let me jump back out. Go visit these pubs and go and support Robslondon's channel. So good. So good. This was a great one. I hadn't heard of any, at least from what I remember, I haven't heard of any of these pubs, and I want to go to all of them. They are sweet. I could probably pass on the old London, but of course, Butler's Head, Dr. Butler Head, and this last one, Blackfriar. I love that it was saved. It's relatively new in the grand scheme of things, you know. Something like that in my country probably there'd be no way it would survive. Progress always seems to take precedence, which is a shame. But these places are awesome. The history of them was great. I love the ones that are out of the way. You have to walk down alleys to go to the back, and you know they're hard to find and so on. Those are the best. But yeah, all of these are great. Great video. Thank you, Rob. If you guys have one like and one subscription, right? Go give it to him. It's important. I hope everybody's happy, healthy, and safe. I hope you enjoyed that. I look forward to the comments and the email. If you have any other recommendations, I'm coming. I am sorry to inform you. I am coming to visit. And I would love to see some of you in one of these places. Let's make it happen. This is going to be great. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.
Mark from the States, Mark from the States, it's Mark.